Guys, how we doing? Welcome back to the West Ham world. It's Luke here. I hope you're all doing well. Some exciting news out there today. I had no plans to do a video, but the news really has picked up in the last sort of couple of hours about another Will Salthouse client. You know, we breathe, we go, "Oh, not another Will Salthouse client." Listen, we've had good ones over the years. I always do huff and a puff sometimes when it's a Will Salthouse clients, but then sometimes you look at it and go, Wan-Bissaka. I think Antonio in the past has been one, but this one's exciting. Jacob Ramsey of Aston Villa, preferably usually plays on left midfield, but I can see him as a centre midfielder going forward. And the rumoured price tag is apparently West Ham may be able to get him for around 25 to 30 million. He was linked with a move to Tottenham earlier in the window. And I think he's one that they may consider to sell. Maybe the Douglas Luiz thing that hasn't quite come about for us, and we've looked at other situations. And maybe Jacob Ramsey was one of the ones that potentially was on the list as like, okay, if he doesn't come off or Elliott hasn't going to come off, then maybe we're going to go for him. I like him as a player. I do. I like him as a player. Obviously, probably their most exciting midfielder is Morgan. I really like him, but he's well out of our price range. But yeah, let's just have a little look at Jacob Ramsey. Obviously, you guys know who the player is, but just a little bit more info on him. So he is from the Villa Academy. He's 24, only just 24 as well. That was in May. Can play attacking midfield. He's 5 foot. He's played 137 times for Villa and scored 14 goals. Like I say, is he close to signing first? Who knows? But that's just something. He did miss quite a lot of the season in the 23-24 season. He only made 16 appearances with hamstring injury. But yeah, he did play a few more times last year. He's played for England at every level apart from senior level, which at 24, you start thinking, are you going to get a chance? Last year, he did play 29 times. He got 1 goal. Actually, in total with Europe as well, he made 45 appearances with 4 goals, which, is not bad for a midfielder. I like him. I do like him. I was reading some scouting reports on him because I do read them about every player, that we're linked with just to see. It says Ramsey is a dynamic, creative midfielder with particular strengths in ball carrying ability over long distance. McAllister says Ramsey is just as good as Kudus the Judas, in my opinion. As I say, he was valued at 50 million at one point, and Tottenham were really heavily looking to get him. And obviously, Aston Villa always have this issue at the moment, which is ridiculous considering they was in the Champions League, about financial fair play, which again is a completely other topic. If you look into WHUFC and teams that are doing, fairly well, winning cups, qualifying for Champions Leagues, and they have to sell their best players. This ain't the ISEC one's not an FFP one as such. That's more of a big clubs come in and they want to spend, but it's the fact that Newcastle can't spend to keep him and keep really competitive and really push on because of these ridiculous rules that are in place. So yeah, I'll be well up for it. Well up for Ramsey coming into West Ham. There's so many linked now, and that's the good thing. We are clearly looking at midfielders. We've just got to try and get 2 over the line. I know Gonzo did a really good video yesterday about, how many midfielders we've got. How many midfielders do we actually need? And, the likes of Soucek, Ward-Prowse, Alvarez, etc., Paquetá, Potts, Fearden, Ward-Prowse, to name a few, We've got to get rid of some because it's okay saying we've got loads, but those loads are not good enough. Ward-Prowse, Soucek, Rodriguez, they could potentially go. I'd keep Soucek potentially, but we need midfielders that can start. I like Potts. I really, really like him. I hope we see him tonight in the game against Everton. But I don't want to put all that pressure on him. I don't want him to have all that pressure. I hope he's a starter, and I hope, give it sort of by the mid-season point, he's actually either first sub off the bench or he's one of the main starters. But we need more. There's no guarantees about Paquetá. Stan, I read a really quite an interesting article just before I came on about Paquetá, saying that Tottenham are interested in him because they can get him for 30 million. That 30 million thing has already been, bombed. West Ham apparently will not sell him for less than 60. And if it's for Tottenham, I would not sell them another player. I genuinely wouldn't. I want Paquetá to stay. I think he will give us a really good season. But if he is to go, then it's got to be right for us. We've stuck by him for the 2 years with the risk that he may have got banned. The fact that we did lose out on 80 million. Yes, we got to keep a player for 2 years, but he wasn't, at that level the whole time. I love Lucas. He's a great player, but it's got to be right for West Ham, this deal. We can't just keep selling players on the cheap because we're running out of assets. That's the problem as well. If Paquetá goes, the only ones you look at and go, oh yeah, they've got some value, is Bowen, which God forbid I don't want Bowen to go. Obviously then it's probably like a Wan-Bissaka, and then you're looking at the youth players. Can they go on and make money? But yeah, if Paquetá is to go, we have to sell him at the right price. If Man City come in or Saudis come in or something like that, and it was 60, 70 million, it's a good price. I don't want him to go. I do not want him to go, but that would be an acceptable price. I think we could all say that. Over 65 million, over 60 million is probably a really good price, as long as he don't go to Tottenham. Let's go through the chat here, guys. So good that you guys come on. It's nice chatting to you guys. Hey, Luke, would love Ramsey, but VASN, we tempt him. Plus, how much would he cost? Villa need to sell now. Apparently, I think it was X, and I think there was an article on Claret and Hugh saying that West Ham are confident that a deal could be struck for around 25 to 30 million, which seems incredible for a player that was, heavily linked for about 50 million at one point. He is a well sought out client, which who said it there? Gaza said, Ramsey, another sought out, you couldn't make it up. We are not buying anyone over 25 million, so forget about it. Players over 25 million. I disagree, mate. I disagree. I think there is. I think we could buy players around the 20, 25 million mark, because I still think there are some sales to happen that will free up some money. I think Emerson will go. It wouldn't surprise me if Areola was to go as well. And then I think I think West Ham will sign 2 players on loan. Whether that is like a Douglas Luiz on loan with an option to buy, an RV Elliott with an option to buy. I think one of those names that we keep hearing about could potentially sign. But we're linked with so many, mate. We're linked with so many. Obviously, you've got the guy at Southampton as well. You've got the guy at Leicester, El Canous. We're linked with so many, and they're all very similar sort of, apart from Louise, is more of a sort of box-to-box. Probably Ramsey's a bit more box-to-box as well. All the others are very techy and tricky and got that, that eye for a pass that West Ham definitely need, especially if Paquetá was to go. Andy says, if Sullivan sells Paquetá to Spurs for any money, that should be the last business he ever does for us. He'd better sell up and buy Cardiff. I agree, mate. We can't sell another one there. Not one of our best. You know what I mean? Kudus was bad enough, but yeah, you sell Paquetá as well. You're basically laying down it. You're saying that they're a better club than us, and it just wouldn't sit right with me at all. Another player going there, it'd be like a laugh, especially if it was for the 30 million that Thomas Frank was saying. But yeah, that's sort of it really. There was a little bit about the goalkeeper missing training, Herminason. I think the Leicester guy missed training today. So again, does that sort of spark more rumours about him coming to West Ham? I'm glad we didn't get Aaron Ramsdale. Looks like he's gone to Newcastle. I said that yesterday, but just reaffirming the point really. We might as well call ourselves Salthouse FC. Yeah, listen, mate, there's good and bad out of Salthouse, and I'm not a Salthouse fan, and I'm not a fan of the way we do this, but you look at Wilson and you go, oh my God, no. But then you look at Wan-Bissaka and you would say that was one of the buys of the summer, not just for West Ham, but in terms of league. That was fantastic signing. Who is a sort of client. If we were to get Jacob Ramsey in for 25, 30 million, you'd have to say that is a good deal for West Ham. Whether it's a Jacob Ramsey deal, whether it's a Will Salthouse deal or not, there are some times where it's a good thing and sometimes where it's a bad thing. And it's just, you got to call it as they come, one by one. I don't like it. I don't like that there is a reliance on it from Sullivan. But when the opportunity comes up for the right player, then you have to take it. And Wan-Bissaka was a right player. And I do believe if Jacob Ramsey is available for that price, you would have to say he is the right player. What other comments you got? You've got a few. Keep them coming, guys. I'll answer a few questions as well. If you've got any questions, I like doing that as well. 8 weeks in, mate, and we still scampering around with the scattergun. Would happily take Ramsey, but can't see it somehow. Again, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there was a lot of confidence from some of the bigger sites, saying that West Ham feel confident that they could strike a deal. It seems too cheap for me. For an English midfielder, I know he's not played for the first team of England yet, but, an established Premier League player, good creative player, good engine, good age as well, 24. It seems pretty cheap to me, unless there is a major injury issue that I've missed on, Look, we have put in bids. So we have put in any bids for players. I know we're interested in players, but everyone is. It's true, mate. It doesn't look like there's any firm bids yet going in. But again, I think some of that is back to this Sullivan thing of he waits till as late as he can, so he hasn't got to pay wages. Not a good idea for me. I like players to come in and get fully into the pre-season. We need to get rid of James Ward-Prowse, Guido, even Souček, and get the likes of Elliot, Fernandez, and Douglas in, mate. Yeah, if we really want to push, if we really, really want to push, mate, and, try and really renew this project again, then that midfield, if you had two really, really good players in there with energy, bit of trickery, bit of passion and power, it could really change our team and change what we want to be, Newcastle take under 72 hours to sign a keeper. Didn't want, by the way. However, we have taken 4 weeks to make an inquiry. Leicester, that's the Sullivan way. Yeah, mate, I do think it's about that, mate. About the pound note. Saves money on the wages. Goalkeeper's not essential for pre-season or anything like that. So we hold it out, and it wouldn't surprise me if he signs just before the Sunderland game. So that Areola will probably start the Sunderland game, make a mistake, and then the new geezer will be in. How much money has siphoned out of this club? Would be interested to see the figures and agents fee. That would be interesting, mate. That would be very interesting. Little conversation there between Andy and Wasim. Love to see. Hermansen has had a few injuries and just come back from an operation. Young, and for a keeper, it's for some reason. There we go. And for a keeper, it's worrying. Yeah. We don't want to be signing, injury-prone players. I'm glad the Callum Wilson one's gone quiet. I think who knows whether that will be reignited again. But I'm glad that's gone a bit quiet. Hopefully, someone else is coming in for him. Someone made an interesting theory that maybe we did that to try and push Antonio into signing a deal. Knowing that if we signed Wilson, we probably wouldn't sign Antonio as well. Who knows? I don't want either, to be honest with you. I don't want Wilson, and I don't particularly want Antonio to stay. I don't think... I don't want Potter to have that option of Antonio. Great servant, legend. I have to say it because people get offended when you say you don't want Antonio. But for me, there's got to be someone else out there that's better. Even Marshall. Marshall is already... just from little cameos, looks like he knows where the goal is, and that's all it is. That's scoring goals, isn't it? And getting into positions. That's the main thing of a striker: being mobile, getting into positions, and taking your chances. Luke, if Wilson doesn't happen, any strikers you'd like us to get, we could afford. It's really hard to pluck names out, mate. Obviously, we're linked with these players from Ligue 1, is his name like Stasis or something like that. There's loads of punts that I think we could take. You might dig out another Diafra Sacco or a Demba Ba, someone that people don't really know about, and then they go and have, Mateta and people like that who knew about him before he went to Palace. There's got to be someone out there like that. The other link I did see, I can't see this happening, is Wilmaz, fantastic player, fantastic, really, really, really good player. He was linked with us yesterday. And then a pundit come out and went, he needs to go to Tottenham or Liverpool. West Ham are not good enough for him, which, take it as a pinch of salt. But he would be very special, very, very special if we got someone like Wilmaz in. Go and have a look at him, go and take a look at him from the Turkish league. Just always a name, and it is a name I know. This is not me just going, listing off stuff. He is a really, really good player. Really good player if we were to get him in. Where are we? Look, do we need a striker? Look, do we need a striker? Fulkrug, Marshall are not enough. No, I do not want. Yeah, we do, mate. We do need a striker. We do need one, mate. We do. Just because I like Fulkrug and I think he's going to have a good season for us. I like the way he plays. I like his personality. I like his desire to win, but I don't think he'll stay fit for the whole season. I don't like Bowen playing striker, and obviously young Marshall's too young to rely on for the whole season. And you want to be able to nurture Marshall in, giving him 10, 15 minutes here and there, and hopefully he gets a couple of goals and then he's ready to go again, But I would like to see another one, whether it's a punt one or whether it's, one that can really give competition a Fulkrug. Who knows? Everton tonight, any thoughts? Just want to see the young Gio, if you've not seen his video, great video about sort of starting lineups and, giving his reasons for it. I mostly agree with what he said about, I want to see Potts. I want to see Potts given a full game, give Paquetá in there from the start. And just try some things out and, stop this slow midfield, get some passing going. Everton haven't got much of a squad out there, they're quite bare bones. So it should be a chance to get a win and try some stuff out. Michael Blee says Callum Wilson will probably be announced with the goalkeeper to make the fan base forget. Yeah, it could be one of them, undercover ones. Only way we advance is to let Macaulay do his job. That's a problem about. That's probably about right, Michael. Eve, unveil the goalkeeper, then by the way, here's Wilson. Yeah, what I did like today, actually, that's another thing. The new kit came, the third kit came out today. I didn't mind it. And some people said they didn't like it. I quite like the badge. I like the collar. I do like shirts with a collar. Probably the best of the three for me. I don't know what you guys think. But what was interesting, a lot of the publicity and photos were Potts, Earthy, and obviously Bowen. Nice to see Potts getting a lot of face on the website. That usually means that they're staying and they've got to get time, and hopefully there's a real hope and optimism around Potts. If there's a lot of negativity around West Ham in terms of being excited for the season and not seeing an end to the Sullivan era and stuff like that, Potts is something that we've got as fans this year that we're holding on to, that will be that shining light, and I hope that is the case. Alvarez is back in the squad now. Hopefully he gets some minutes. Yeah, he might get a few minutes here and there. Third kit is decent, better than the other two. Players you would sell in our squad league ASAP. You might have covered this already. I'll give you a few, mate, straight away. Wood-Prowse, Rodriguez. I like Emerson, but if he wants to go, you could probably get a few quid for him. Irvine, like him as a player, but again, you might get 3-4 million for him, which again just give you a few more funds. If I could sell anyone in that West Ham team, though, there's two, and I think it would be Wood-Prowse, and if I really could, we won't. I would love to sell Max Kilman. I just don't rate him. I don't rate him at all. He reminds me of Matthew Upson. He's a bit of a coward. You know, he doesn't show enough for me. He's not got enough leadership. I'm not fully convinced. I'm not fully convinced with Tobido either. He shows touches of brilliance and looks good. I want the Gerd to stay. I really do. And it looks, the fact that, again, it's not a big deal. He's changed his number to 5, which, you know, is a bit more of a starter number than, you know, just a random number. But a guy who commented the other day on the channel said that apparently Chicharito changed his number. I think he changed his number to 9, and then he left about sort of 2 or 3 weeks later. So don't read too much into the change of number. And obviously Rodriguez, I would say as well. Kilman is a dud. Get rid. We ain't good at the moment, Luke. We're miles behind the top teams, but we need our players to step up and start being team, and that'll be something to build on. The thing is, mate, we are quite away from what we were a couple of years ago, but it can change very, very quickly with 2 good signings. You know, 2 good midfielders or a striker that's going to get you 15 goals can change very, very quickly. And that's what we need to do, you know. It literally can be 2 signings and it's like, oh, West Ham look good. But it's getting it right and spending some money, you know. My back 3 would be a Gerd, Toddy and Mavs. 2 have pace and 1 can head the ball. Yeah, and Tobido and a Gerd have got the ping on them as well. They've, like, especially a Gerd, he's got that beautiful crossfield ball, and he's very comfortable on the ball as well. Again, Mav, like I say, Mav looked good the other night as well. We need someone. We need a Dawson and we need a Ginge. We need someone who's just an animal that can complement those 2. If we are playing a 3, you've got the pretty players that can play a bit. They've got pace, but then you need an absolute animal in defence. West Ham have usually always had that animal, but since Dawson left, we've not had that guy. You know, since Dawson really, and then obviously Dawson sort of replaced Ginge, didn't he? Before that, you know, you had Reedy and people like that. We need another absolute animal. Who that is, I don't know. But for me, that's another position. Maybe not this season, but definitely something we would need to look at in the future. An absolute animal in the air. Loves a snappy, you know, snapping the tackle, leader. You know, gets his head all bloodied up and stuff. That's what we're lacking in defence. We need more creativity in the midfield. Can't rely solely on Pac-Man. No, you can't, mate. You can't. I love Pac-Man, brilliant, but again, he goes missing in games. You don't know where his head's going to be at in terms of, you know, I can't see him sulking for a move or anything like that. But will he, you know, play well some games and then go missing something? But listen, Payet used to do that, you know. He'd go missing for games, but in 1 minute of absolute magic would change it. I don't know. Maybe he'll relish being the main man, relish not having that case on his head. And I do believe as well, I keep repeating myself, but it's a World Cup year. It's massive for players. Players play that extra, you know, 25% better than what they used to. Their effort levels go up more because they want to be in that World Cup. And for people like Paquetá, you know, at 28, could be his last one, you know, because you would assume that, you know, Brazil's pool of talent by the time the next World Cup comes and he's 32, 33, you know, there's probably someone else there that will play that role. So this is really his last chance to play in another World Cup. 2 of the academy have been sold or moved on. Do you think they'll be? Do you think they'll move the likes of Alford, Casey, and maybe even Marshall, or should we keep? I think for someone like Alford, who I really, really like, looks neat and tidy. I think he could do with a loan to like a Portsmouth, or, you know, what Potsy's done. Go and play, as Nick would say from Claret Blues, go and play airy men's football. Go Go and have a great season down in the Championship. Show what you're about. See if you can go and win Player of the Year like Potsy did. And then come back, ready to go. Play next season's pre-season and see if he's there. I like Alford. I think there is a real player in there. But yeah, I don't think he will get the chance in his team this season. So a year on loan wouldn't do him much damage. What else did you have there? Casey, yeah, I think with him as well, maybe a year on loan for him. And Marshall, I would keep. I would keep him. Let him play in the under-21s. And then if we need him at the weekends for on the bench and bringing him on, it would be good. Kelly asked to leave. Lots of players in front of him, Andy. Everton have done a Villa, Chelsea, and sold the women's team back to their parents' company. Yeah, apparently so. Yeah, Everton, quite a lot of money as well, I think. So Everton could have a little bit of money to spend. Again, why don't we do that? I don't know how much West Ham's women's team is, but, there's things like that. That's the problem with not having assets now, not having your own ground. All we can sell to ourselves is a few porter cabins. That's about it. I don't know how much else we own. We probably own a few flats in Canary Wharf because that's where we put the players up in when they first come over. I imagine some of them flats are owned by West Ham because Carroll lived there, Allardyce lived there at one point, and I think Soucek and Soufal lived there at one point. So I don't know if we could do something there. How can a 16 and 17-year-old? How can a 16 or 17-year-old can join big clubs? I don't know. It's hard, isn't it? At 16, 17 to get into a top team, you've got to be sensational, really. You've got to be super, super talented. And I'm talking Lamine Yamal levels. It's very rare that you see a 6. Oh, sorry, guys, I've got cut out there. But yeah, you've got to be absolutely. Oh, sorry, guys, I've got cut out there. But yeah, you've got to be absolutely sensational to get into the team, 16, 17. Sorry if I lost connection there, guys. Sorry. I didn't realise. Can we apply, or is it like trials? You've got to be scattered, mate, I think, to get in the academy. I'm not an expert. We don't own any potatoes, let alone the cabin. Portaloos, sorry. I thought it said potatoes, let alone porter cabins. Right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you again. Like I say, I'm going to try and do these as much as I can. It seems to be building a little audience and we're starting to get really interactive. You guys are not so shy anymore. But yeah, Jacob Ramsey is the rumour today. Would be a fantastic signing. If we were to sign him and Douglas Luiz, you've got Aston Villa's midfield from a few years ago. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Hit the like button before you leave. Come on, you irons. Keep believing. Let's go.